got the memo. None of us did.
Okay. ERA, yes.
Jackie? Thank you, Jackie. Y'all ready?
Let me call it to order, then I'll make a very short statement, hand it over to you.
Okay.
Because
Chairman Nadler has another important meeting, and we need to give him time to speak before he leaves. First of all, I want to thank everyone who voted for a Democratic majority that gave us a chairmanship that enabled Chairman Jerry Nadler to be there to help us with this and so many other areas. He's on a tight schedule, so Jerry, thank you so much. It's historic, the first time in 36 years, on to passage, on to a markup. Come on.
Well, thank you, Carolyn. I'm very glad that I had the privilege as chairman of the committee to be in a position to arrange for the first hearing on the ERA in 36 years. That's quite a...
Bravo!
So let me say thank you, Carolyn and Jackie, and all the tireless advocates for being here today and for staying in this fight for so many years. It's because of your unending advocacy that we are standing here today after the first congressional hearing on the ERA in 36 years. And it's because of your work that the ERA is now one state away from ratification.
Yay!
And before I go further, let me thank Chairman Cohen, who's chairman of the subcommittee that actually held the hearing today.
Thank you.
As we heard from our witnesses today, the ERA is just as necessary now as it was when Alice Paul first proposed it nearly 100 years ago. Paul recognized then the same message we heard today. If women are to achieve true equality in this country, our founding document must explicitly reflect that. 96 years later, women are still waiting. But if today's hearing was any indication, that wait may not be for much longer. This hearing was a critical first step towards achieving the goal of ratifying the ERA. Today we saw that there is no debate about the need, no rational debate, I should say, about the need to clearly and unequivocally guarantee women equal rights under the law. And we saw that just as Congress had the authority to put the deadline in, it has the absolute right to take the deadline out. Women must have the same consistent guaranteed rights in this country granted to men without question. Women have fought tirelessly to demand those rights. I remain committed to seeing the ERA ratified and fighting side by side with all of you to achieve that goal. So I thank all of you for your participation in this fight. I thank the people standing here for their leadership in this fight. I thank Carolyn and Jackie for Congresswoman Maloney and Congresswoman Spear for their leadership, and let's get this done.
Yeah, let's get this done. I love
It took us 36 years to get the hearing, but we're not going to wait that long for a markup and to pass it through the House. And we hope our next speaker, Chairman Cohen, with his subcommittee, will schedule a markup and passage. Thank you so much. We, women of America, are grateful. Every woman in America should send him a flower and say thank you.
it. And he'll accept.
Thank you, Carolyn, and thank you, everybody who participated. Jackie and Carolyn are great being the sponsors, and our panel was phenomenal. Our professor from Stanford was fantastic. Senator Spearman was great. Ms. Arquette was great. It was just a wonderful experience. It's an honor for me to chair the committee. ERA has been an issue my entire political life, which stretches back to about the start of the effort for the ERA. So I thank everybody that's participated, thank all the members of the Academy, and look forward to
Jackie, you want to go back and forth?
And I'm supposed to also recognize Tom Reed, Congressman Tom Reed, who shows there are some good Republican men.
Yes.
A Republican man in Tennessee, a young Republican man in Tennessee in 1920 switched his vote from no to aye, Harry Byrne, and passed the right of women to vote. So Harry Byrne, his mother said, do the right thing. Do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Well, thank you, Steve. And I'm proud to stand here as a man and as a member of the Republican Party to show my support for this bill and for what, as you indicated, my mom would have told me. You know, God rest her soul. She raised, as many of you know, I have 8 older sisters, 3 older brothers, and my father passed when I was 2. And my mom would be proud to be standing up here, and I'm standing on her shoulders, Betty Barr Reed, to say, the time is now. Equal rights needs to occur, and we will be a force to stand with you going forward. Thank you for all the work, Jackie, and we appreciate all you do, Carolyn.
He's very important because he represents Seneca Falls, the home of the women's rights movement, where Alice Paul introduced the Equal Rights Amendment in 1923, and I know because she was a relative of my late husband.
Amen, Carolyn.
Thank you.
And we appreciate that. And it's my job here to introduce Senator Ben Cardin. Please, Senator, always a pleasure.
Well, congratulations on a hearing. That's great. 36 years was too long, and I really do congratulate the leadership in the House for this hearing on the Equal Rights Amendment. To Jackie Spear and Carolyn Maloney, thank you for your leadership. It's good to be here with Senator Menendez, who's been a true champion on equal rights for women. I also want to acknowledge Lisa Murkowski, who's my co-sponsor in the United States Senate on the Equal Rights Amendment, so it's bipartisan in the United States Senate. I think what today's hearing sort of underscores is that Americans would be surprised to learn that there is not protection in the Constitution for equal rights for women. I think they would be surprised to learn that that does not exist. And quite frankly, if you're establishing a constitutional democracy today, Constitutional Democracy 101 says that there would be a provision in your Constitution protecting the equal rights of women. So now, the United States, the leading democratic constitutional democracy in the world, it's time that we modernize our Constitution to reflect equal rights for women. And it is very clear it makes a difference. It makes a difference on economic empowerment. It makes a difference on social and political empowerment. It's important that our basic document include the Equal Rights Amendment. And we are very close right now. This hearing is the first step. Let's get the bill passed. Let's get it up in the Senate. Let's get it passed. And I'm proud to introduce my colleague in the United States Senate, Senator Bob Menendez.
Well, thank you, Ben. Thank you for your leadership in the Senate on this issue. I want to thank Congresswoman Maloney, who I've worked with since I was in the House of Representatives as the former chairman of the Democratic Caucus, and Congresswoman Spear, as well as the House Judiciary Committee, for putting the Equal Rights Amendment at the forefront of the agenda where it belongs. It's hard to believe that in 2019, the only right guaranteed to women by the Constitution is the right to vote. One of America's leading suffragists, New Jersey's own Alice Paul, feared that that could become the case. That's why in 1923, she authored the Equal Rights Amendment. She said then, women, though enfranchised, are still in every way subordinate to men before the law, in government, and educational opportunities in the professions, in the church, in industry, and in the home. A lot has changed from her views at that time, but nonetheless, she spoke of the many rights that women are still fighting for today. The right to equal pay for equal work, to protection from discrimination in school and the workplace, to control their own health care decisions, and to be free of harassment and violence in their daily lives. Alice Paul lived to see the ERA pass in Congress in 1972, and unfortunately it fell a few states short of ratification when she passed away a few short years later. So as New Jersey's senior senator, it has been my mission to keep Alice Paul's mission alive, and I've been proud to reintroduce the ERA legislation in the U.S. Senate each and every Congress. I do it for my late mother, who worked tirelessly in a factory but never received equal pay for equal work. I do it for my daughter, who deserves equal pay and equal opportunity as she builds her career. And I do it for my granddaughter and all of our daughters and granddaughters so that they may grow up in a nation where women's equality is a constitutional right and is undisputed. In recent years, we've seen women rising up like never before. They're winning elections, organizing for change, and revitalizing our democracy in record numbers. It's my hope that we can work together to channel that energy into lasting change and secure the constitutional protections for women's equality that Alice Paul envisioned nearly a year ago. And I close every time I get challenged by one of my Senate colleagues who say, why do we need the Equal Rights Amendment? I said, well, look at the late Justice Scalia. He said that, in fact, he did not believe that discrimination based on gender was, in fact, a constitutionally protected right. That was an alarm clock that went off. If a majority of the Supreme Court holds that position, then, in fact, everything that we have worked for to progress women's right is at stake. And so that's why the Equal Rights Amendment needs to be passed, and passed now, and I look forward to working with you to make sure that it happens. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Jackie's next? Okay. Well, she needs no introduction, but Congresswoman Jackie Spears has been a tireless advocate in this regard and a champion along with Carolyn. So,
thank you. So, like everyone else in this room who was at that hearing, I'm still pinching myself that it really happened, but it did really happen. And 36 years later, we have finally had a hearing on the Equal Rights Amendment. Thank you to all the gray-haired women in this room and all the young women in this room that don't have to dye their hair for recognizing how important this is for the next generation of women. We have been an afterthought since the beginning of the Constitution. I'm tired of having to have the wives and the mothers calling on their leaders to do the right thing. We want the right thing to happen, and it's going to happen on our watch. No more excuses. No more excuses. I actually keep in my office a archives document that was from the National Association of Women Against Suffrage. And among the many excuses in this letter, this is a 1917 letter, was that if we gave women the right to vote, they would pester all the men in this country forever. Well, it's time to pester all the men and women in this country. Thank you all for being here.
I'm Congresswoman Maloney, and all I can say is, wow, we finally got our hearing. I came to Congress in 1992, and I have been pushing for an official hearing every year I have been in Congress. We've had shadow hearings, thanks to the Equality, the Coalition for Equality, Jessica Neuwirth and Carol Jenkins, and Alyssa Milano gave a brilliant presentation. And we're going to continue doing those too. But we've had other shadow hearings, but this is our first official hearing. And we need to pass it. We do not intend to wait another 36 years. We need to pass this year, get it to the president's desk for a signature, and move forward with ratification. I can't tell you that this would never have happened with certain women in this room. The incredible Eleanor Smeal, the president of the feminist majority. What would we do without now organizing us? Tony Van Pelt, president of the National Organization of Women, and Patricia Spearman, who testified so beautifully today and led us to victory in Nevada. And Jennifer Carroll Foy, who will lead us to victory in Virginia. One vote short this year. And Virginia Delegate Hala Ayla for leading us. And Faye Williams, the National Chair of the National Congress of Black Women. So many wonderful people. Now, I think we should say, why not? If someone tells us we can't pass it, we can't ratify it, they're not for it, why not? Why not have equal pay for equal work? Why not be in the Constitution so you can enforce it? Why not have equality of opportunity? Why not have citizenship that's equal? Why not treat our little girls and little boys, our children, the same, with the same opportunities? Why not have our grandchildren, our girls and boys, treated the same? Why not have equality? And if anybody tells you one reason why not, I want to hear about it. And we're going to answer it. And we're going to get it done. So onward to passage. And Carol Jenkins is here, the co-president and CEO of the incredible ERA Coalition that has made this hearing happen and so many other things happen. Come on, along with everybody else. Along with everybody else.
Great. Well, we just want to say thank you. I'm looking at faces that we have seen through the country of people working so hard for so many years. For us, that's the thing that makes the ERA Coalition's heart beat. We know that you are there, and we are ready to help in whatever way we can. Our goal is constitutional equality for everyone. We believe in an equal future, and we know that the only way we can get an equal future for girls and boys, for women and men, is to have the Equal Rights Amendment. So we are here ready to support you in whatever way we can. And our champions, you know, these women who are going to do this in Congress for us, we are so happy. Thank you all so much.
And it's hard not to win if you have Alyssa Milano behind you and working on it. The great actress.
Oh my gosh, what an honor to be here today to watch this unfold. Thank you to Congresswoman Maloney and Congresswoman Spear for always being there for women, for my daughter, for my mother, for my grandmother. Thank you for continuing this. My name is Alyssa Milano, and in 2019, I don't have equal rights under the Constitution. But today, with the blood, passion, and decades of hard work, women and allies, and the House of Representatives, we took an important step to change that. It is time for the Constitution to reflect the powerful principles of its first three words: we the people. Not we the men, we the people. Say it with me. We the people. Equality is not an issue of party. It is not an issue of politics. It is an issue of basic human dignity. The Equal Rights Amendment is a powerful and simple statement. We are all equal. Without this equality, there is no security. Without this equality, there is no safety. Without this equality, America can never live up to the aspirations of the framers and every person who continues to make us who we are. Let me be clear, ratifying the ERA will make real and meaningful change in America that will help every single person who calls her home. And that's why I am here, to stand with and for women who face constitutionally enshrined discrimination in all facets of life. The ERA will build a wall. You heard me, a wall that will actually do something against the never-ending assault on our rights from the current or future presidents. It will empower courts to ensure women earn equal wages for equal pay and that our citizenship has equal value. Ratification will make sure that women have sovereignty over our own bodies, and it will change the face of business as companies enact recruitment, retention, and advancement programs that ensure a woman's path to the executive suite doesn't stop at executive assistant. Now, each of these things alone would justify adopting the ERA, but more than anything, ratifying an Equal Rights Amendment will say to the nation and to the world that the most important document in American history refuses to allow any person to be discriminated against because of who they are. It will define America as she was meant to be, we the people. I am a mother. I am a daughter. I am a granddaughter. I am a niece. I am an aunt. I am a woman, and I belong in the Constitution. Thank you. And is Patricia here? Patricia here? Okay, so we're going to... I now have the honor of introducing Eleanor Smeal, the president of the Feminist Majority and a hero of mine. Eleanor?
Wow. Well, I think I've been on this trail for 48 years, and I want you to know that when we started, it was just a handful of women, really, and I want to salute now, that broke up the hearings for the 18-year-old vote and said women had to be considered first. We have the 18-year-old vote. We still don't have this, but we're going to get it. It is an intergenerational movement. And by the way, I don't even think we need to stop at 38 states. We're not going to stop. We now have a wonderful, wonderful campaign in Virginia, and everybody has to help us go over the top. In 2019, with the elections, that will be key. We were lost by only one vote, and we don't intend to be stopped. That's 38. And then there's Arizona, and then there is North Carolina, and I just was in Louisiana, and believe me, they have an election in 2019. They have half the Senate is open because they have term limits, and a third of the House is open because of term limits. But more important, there is such a mammoth movement there of every women's group in this room, and then every young group, from Indivisible to, I can't even go through them all. There's so many, and they all have new names, and it's just terrific. So we've got the energy. We're on a roll. Thank you for being here, but it's every state. I know you're from, I'm looking around, it's every place in this country you came from, and oh my God, we will not be stopped, and that is the weakest opposition that I've seen in many a hearing, that the opponent said she wants to vote for the RA. Well, let's give her a chance. Let's make sure we go over the top. And now I'm introducing the president of the National Organization for Women that helped crack this open in the 70s, Tony Van Pelt.
Well, I just want to thank everybody in this room and to our representatives for everything that they've done for us and to bring this to the fore. And I want to remind you all that it was Eleanor Smeal that said, guns have rights in the Constitution. Why not women?
Abigail, don't leave. You're next.
Okay.
We have a freshman here who wants to speak.
So I'm so proud to stand with you today on behalf of the National Organization for Women. The history of NOW is intertwined with the history of the ERA. NOW's grassroots made the ERA one of its first core issues in 1967, just 1 year after its founding in 66. NOW has supported the ERA for over 50 years, and ratifying the ERA has remained one of our top priorities. NOW supports an ERA that uplifts the needs of all women, including immigrant women, women working in low-wage jobs, women of color, women with disabilities, and the LGBTQIA+ community. In February of 1970, NOW's leaders disrupted Senate hearings to demand that the ERA be considered by the full Congress. We have been disrupting, agitating, marching, lobbying, speaking out, and pushing back ever since. Today, I can tell you that NOW chapters and NOW members in every part of the country are enthusiastically working to make the ERA part of the Constitution at long last. It is unconscionable that 96 years after the Equal Rights Amendment was first introduced in Congress, women and gender minorities are still not granted equal rights in the United States Constitution. The failure of the framers to include women in our nation's founding documents is a constitutional flaw that has long demanded correction. Remedying this omission is not only proper, it is essential to the continuation of our democracy. Beyond the overwhelming need for the ERA from a legal and constitutional point of view, the campaign to achieve full ratification is a vital organizing and social justice movement as well. The next election will be a referendum on our most basic principles and values. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are among the inalienable rights set forth by our American founders, but without true equality, those rights will remain out of the reach of women. There are not two sides to this debate. You are either for equality or you are against equality. And if you believe in equality, you must commit to its defense no matter what. That's why we're here today and why we're here tomorrow and next week and next month and next year until the ERA is ratified and equality is finally a reality for women. Okay, and I'd like to introduce Abigail Spanberg. Abigail, I'm Tony Van Pelt.
We elected over 100 new women members to Congress, most in history. And Abigail defeated a Republican to come here and made a Democratic majority.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for your advocacy. Thank you for all of your work. To my colleagues in the House, thank you for carrying on the torch. And to my mother. Thank you for your advocacy. Thank you for advocating for all women, for your daughters, for women like your daughters. As Alyssa said, we all play so many roles. I am a daughter. I'm a mother of 3 daughters. I am a niece. I am an aunt. I am a woman, and I am a congresswoman. And I would like constitutional equality. And I am here to join my colleagues in the House to ensure that there are no excuses in my home state, the Commonwealth of Virginia, for any reason for us to not pursue this. And I am so excited about the class of freshman women that we have in this Congress, and I am so delighted that we have been welcomed with incredible, supportive, open arms by those who have paved the way for us to arrive in Congress and to advocate for a variety of things. But today, it is constitutional equality because it is at the foundation of everything else. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your advocacy, and let's keep working. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Nevada State Senator Pat Spearman, who's Senator Spearman serves as the majority whip in the Nevada Senate and spearheaded the successful ratification fight in Nevada, making them the 36th state in 2017.
Thank you. Good afternoon on this great Equality Day. Good afternoon on this great Equality Day. You know, I really feel honored and I'm humbled and I'm so glad they got the name Nevada. Nevada, right. You know, I was asked a question in the hearing, and I don't know how many of you were following it, but why did we do this in 2017? And my response was this. We know about equality, and we believe in equality. We lead with equality, and it was just the right thing to do. So were there discussions? Were there people who came in opposition? Yes, they were. But you know what? The indomitable spirit of equality and just moving forward with the winds of change as they are right now, there was no stopping us. And so we tried in 15. They stopped us. We tried in 17, they couldn't stop us, and we're going all the way in this country. We need one more state, and we're going to get it done. Women will be in the Constitution. Thank you. Okay, Patricia. Okay, so now we will have Academy Award-winning activist Patricia Arquette. And let me just say this, too. We just passed in the Senate, in the Nevada State Senate, we just passed a bill that I had for pay equity. And let me tell you, this lady walks the talk, okay? She flew in, I think, on a Wednesday from Europe and was on a plane early that Friday morning, came to Nevada to testify in favor of pay equity. And last week, we passed it out of the Senate. It's on the way to the Assembly, and it will be signed. So thank you, Miss Patty Arquette. She's my alternative ego.
Double pats, watch out. That's our superpower. Well, thank you so much, guys, for all doing and the incredible work you have all been doing for so long. Thank you to the senators, Maloney and Spear, for your tireless work, and all of your tireless work, because I know that you've all been hitting the pavement, some for decades, trying to make this happen, and I think we're going to make this happen, because there is no real argument against it, other than the original argument, which was that they intentionally left women out. They are intentionally leaving women out now. When you hear arguments about abortion, well, wait a minute. Abortion is already legal. When you hear arguments about bathrooms and this fear of women being raped in bathrooms, women are being raped everywhere. Kids are being raped women are being raped in meat processing plants, in offices. Janitors are being raped on the night shift. We have people getting raped on school buses, office rooms, in houses of worship. So, no, you're not going to hold back our equal rights because you're afraid of bathrooms or you're afraid of abortion, which is already legal. We're going to get equal rights. Get out of the way. Thank you.
The founder and co-president of the ERA Coalition, Jessica Neuwirth. She's a powerhouse. She's moved this forward. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you. Wow, I want to thank Jackie Spear and Carolyn Maloney for just incredible leadership on this. And, you know, we're just not going to stop until we get it done.
Jessica, introduce the next person. Jennifer.
Oh, and it is such a great honor to introduce Virginia delegate Jennifer Carroll Foy, who you may know was one of the first graduates of VMI after the Supreme Court ruled that women could get into VMI, and now is the most incredible advocate for the area in Virginia.
Thank you. So, as Abigail Adams wrote to her husband, John Adams, the nation's second president and member of the Continental Congress in the 18th century, quote, "I desire you would remember the ladies and be more generous and favorable to them than your ancestors. Remember, all men would be tyrants if they could. If particular care and attention is not paid to the ladies, we are determined to foment a rebellion and will not hold ourselves bound by any laws in which we have no voice or representation," end quote. We must remember that when the Constitution was written, women were property and blacks were three-fifths a person. And that is why I'm here. That is why I stand before you. Because we are sick and tired of being sick and tired. We are tired of being told no to equal pay for equal work. We are tired of being told no to ending sex discrimination. We are tired of being no to women being treated equally under the eyes of the law. But I don't know about you, but I eat no for breakfast. And I demand equality without an apology. And none of our rights, I want to remind you that none of our rights and equality has ever been given to us. We have fought for interracial marriage. We have fought for desegregation. We have fought for the right to vote. So why would this be any different? So we don't expect to be given anything above and beyond. We are expected to be given what is rightfully ours, and that is constitutional equality. So let me be clear. November is coming. And we cannot change their minds. We will absolutely change their seats. Let's get it done. Thank you all. Oh, yes. Hello. It is my absolute privilege to now bring up my seatmate, the woman who also helped usher in the 2017 Blue Wave in Virginia, Delegate Hala Ayala.
Y'all fired up? Yeah. Damn, Jennifer. Can I say that? That's right, sister. Today, we should all ask ourselves, as we sit here in this moment, how long must we wait for women and girls
to be included in the Constitution. Let that marinate a little bit. How long have we waited? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. If you believe in Stand With Women, you'll vote for women. You'll support women. You will pass the Equal Rights Amendment. No more lip service. No more empty promises. No more, I'll respect you by shaking your hand. Respect will be shown, R-E-S-P-E-C-T, will be shown. Yes. When we gain full equality under the Constitution. As elected officials, we have a moral obligation to listen to our constituents and let their voices be heard, not suppressed. Now is not the moment that we shy away from celebrating a historical, shy away from correcting this historical exclusion of women and girls from our Constitution. Now is the time that we stand up and speak out. No longer will we be on the menu, we will have a seat at the table. Thank you. Thank you. It is my extreme pleasure and honor to introduce Faye Williams, the National Chair of the National Congress of Black Women. It's an esteemed honor.
As I always say, you know, I'm a farm girl, and I have to tell you about the farm. We were taught that you never count your chickens till your eggs hatch. But today we got the egg. So we're ready. I want to thank Congresswoman Spear, Congresswoman Maloney, and all who have worked to make today happen. And I can't imagine any man who has a daughter, who has a granddaughter, or who has a wife, or even a mother, and you would be opposed to equal rights for women and men, because that's what it says, right? Okay, well, just so the brothers think that we're not for them, we're talking about equal rights for all, right? We just want some better rights than we have, okay? And it would be equal to theirs. I cannot imagine anyone opposing it. But if you notice the podium today, there was conspicuously a group that was not present, didn't think enough of this issue to come forward. And so we have been maybe just a little bit light in what we were going to do in working for the Equal Rights Amendment. But we've got to begin not asking, but demanding equal rights for women. And I know that I get invited to this event for a couple of reasons. First of all, I didn't forget to wear white. I just want all the women of color to know that they're represented, so I wore some color today. We in the National Congress of Black Women are definitely in support of the Equal Rights Amendment for so many reasons. But I get invited to this so that I can give you my little joke, which I give at most of the events. And I'll do that quickly, and then I'm going to go back there because, you know, we support the Equal Rights Amendment. And the story is about never underestimating a woman who can think and who can read. The story is told of a woman who decided to get up, get her book, go out and read on her boat. While she was sitting there, of course, the game warden came up and said, "Ma'am, you can't fish here." She said, "I'm not fishing, I'm reading." He said, "Yeah, ma'am, but I know you got all the equipment, you could start any time. And I'm going to have to take you down to the downtown." And she said, "Okay, you can do that, and if you do that, I'm going to tell them you raped me." And he said, "But I didn't rape you." She said, "Oh, I know, but you've got all the equipment, you could start any time." We have now begun the next road onto the Equal Rights Amendment for all of us. Thank you, I love you, God bless you. Thank you.
That concludes our...
Well, this is the end of the beginning. And we all know what's the road ahead of all of us. And I think what Dr. Williams said is what we really have to do, which is demand. We need to demand that all those members that didn't show up at that committee hearing today, we want to know why. Why wasn't it important enough to show up? So let us not forget that this is not going to come with tiptoeing around the issue. This is only going to come if we demand it. And our work has just begun, but we're getting closer. And without all of you, we would be nowhere. So thank you all for all that you've done.
Jackie, I think we should take any questions from the press, and then we have so many leaders here from across the country. Maybe we should have a strategy session. Maybe Jessica, you'd come up here. Seriously, Jessica, come up here and lead a strategy session. After we take all the questions, are there any questions from the press? Then that concludes it. But I see North Carolina. I want to hear what's happening there. And I want to hear what's happening in all these other states. And Indiana, yeah. Georgia, great. Sheila Jackson Lee is here. She showed up. Sheila, come say a few words. Come on. Great. Thank you.
Well, my words are simply words of thanks to my sisters, Jackie and Carolyn. We don't even put last names, but Jackie Spear and Carolyn Maloney, two members of Congress, and our distinguished voices that we have heard already, to be able to say to Steve Cohen, Tom Reed, Ben Cardin, Bob Menendez, Carol Jenkins, certainly Ms. Milano, I'm trying to look for you. We've been together before. Oh, here you are. We've been together before. And of course, what do you say about my sister, Patricia Arquette? We've been together many times. And Ellie Smeel, that's what I call her. That's what I call her. I didn't get a chance to, I'm going to wrap up. Let me give the hug. And our Senator Spearman, our Delegate Jennifer Carroll Foy, Delegate Hala Ayala, and Ife Williams, my wonderful president of the National Chair of National Congress of Black Women. Everybody knows Shirley Chisholm was one of those members. Let me just say these final words. We have always been asked, as Dr. King said, why we can't wait. We were asked it when we didn't have the right to vote. We were asked when the Founding Fathers wrote the Constitution and we did not have the right to vote. And then through the 20th century, when women were again put in a position to say all was well. Well, today we make the pronouncement with a hearing that has been held in this Congress for the first time in almost 30 years on the House Judiciary Committee with the largest number of women that we've ever had, to be able to say we cannot wait and we will not wait. And those 15 states have a choice. They need to stand for their citizens that are more than 50% women in most of the states, and they need to stand with us to make that difference, both in terms of Congresswoman Spears' resolution and then the ERA, the ERA, they take that out of my mouth, the ERA, and to make a difference. And today, you all are making a wonderful difference. Thank you all so very much.
Well, I want to thank Congresswoman Spear, Congresswoman Maloney, and everyone who's here just for leading us to this moment. And I'd also like to invite everyone to Tortilla Coast to have that strategy session. We are hosting a post-press conference lunch, and we want to invite you all to join us. So that was just my little.
Thank you. All right.
What?
Thank you all for coming.
And say that this is
Here.
Patina Hager.
Oh, sorry.
Who has been working day and night also for this.
Thank you. All right. So Tortilla Coast is, it's right near the Capitol South Metro, which is behind the Cannon House office building. And we will have tacos and conversation.
First and D. It's at First
At
and
First and D.
Come to First and
First and D.
I'm